Hey. Welcome back to Ordinary Misfits. Man, it feels good. Yeah, it feels good to say that, man. It feels so good to say that. How you been?
Bro, I tell you what, I did not realize how much I missed that little piano intro, dog. That thing hit. Ooh,
clean.
There's something about it.
So clean. I wish I could say like, yeah, that's me on the keys. It ain't me. It ain't me.
Hey, you pirated that.
Oh man.
Give my man some. Who you take it from?
I don't know. I know they don't know we got it. Okay. No, I paid for it. We good. We all right. We ain't getting sued. We ain't getting copyrighted. Okay.
None of that over here. None of that. How you been?
I've been good. Been chilling. Been working. Been doing a lot of stuff, bro.
Lifing, man. Lifing.
Dude, hey, can you believe that it's been over a year since our last episode? Over a year, my guy.
We're getting old, man. We're getting old.
Yep. I mean, time flies. But with that being said, if you are tuning in for the first time, welcome to the tribe. Welcome to the family. I am Martin, but I go by Breezy. And right here with me is my ride or die, my brother from another mother, J. Cole, but he go by Cole World, anything and everything. But yeah. This is something in a space and a place where we hope that you are, you feel safe, but also that, you know, your thoughts matter, right? And also, if you've been with us before, I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you are here. This podcast has always been a space for honest conversation where we explore life's messiness, but we also celebrate the beauty that could be found in it. And so we wanted to take this time in, you know, I guess we'll officially say it. Season 2, the pilot episode.
Oh, wait, come on now.
No, season 2. Come on now.
That sounds good.
I guess you can't really say pilot episode of season 2. So I guess episode 1 of season 2.
Episode 1, season volume 2. Volume 2 right there.
Yeah, volume 2. Let's go. We want to take the time to set the tone, set the record straight, but also just share with you guys what we want this place and space to be. And so if it's okay with you, Cole, like I'll take charge here. And then anytime you want to interact, just say, hey, let me say something real quick, right?
Go ahead. I'm listening.
So we're back. What does that mean? Life happens. There's been a reason why we've been gone for so long. But not bad reasons, not toxic reasons at all. It's just because life got crazy. But it's good for us to be able to take a step back, get the things in our life in order so we can come back in this space and do this. And sometimes, you know, stepping away from something is necessary to grow. Over the past few months, we've been reflecting, we've been building, we've been growing. And what we realize is that especially with where the world is going and the state of our country, the world needs spaces like this now more than ever. We've seen how easy it is to get lost in the noise, the pressure to have it all figured out. But the constant comparison of, hey, do you got to figure it out? Do you not? It's exhausting. And we know what it feels like to carry that burden, to carry that weight on a day-to-day basis. And we're here and we're choosing to be something different. We're choosing to be authentic over perfection. And I guess let me say that better. We're choosing authenticity over perfection. We're choosing growth over comfort and connection over isolation. This podcast, this time where we get to just talk about deep conversation should be a reflection of that decision. So as we dive into this new season, we hope everyone feels seen, they feel heard, and maybe even feel a bit lighter because that weight is off their plate. What are your thoughts, Cole?
Man, and the thing is like you said, in today's society and the way that things are, having a space to express yourself and express the way you feel and your emotions, and even just kind of, you know, because there are things, you know, there are multiple point of views, multiple ways of looking at things, multiple ways of feeling about certain things. I know you'll agree to this. There are going to be things that we talk about that I might say something that either A, you don't agree with, or might not have even thought about.
Right.
Likewise with me, with you, I know there are ways that you handle things and the ways that you go about your daily life that for me may be something that I don't agree with, or maybe I didn't think about, and that could change. That could benefit me to think about, and to really chew on. And I think that's really what people need nowadays is those environments, those safe spaces, to not only be able to voice oneself and to properly get your emotions and feelings out, but also to be able to safely disagree, to be able to safely learn, and to be able to safely grow as an individual and become a better all around person and individual for yourself and for those around you. And I think that is one of the few beauties that we can do in this day and age. And, you know, it's highly accessible. It's highly helpful. And I think that the beauty in this is that we can offer that to not only each other, but open it up to others. And we can have have that conversation and have these topics come up and really grow and learn the different ways of, or not ways of, point of views and ways that we can handle these things, these topics. Right. And I think that's the main thing. There is I really love, you know, me and you have talked multiple times. I really love these deep, passionate conversations, getting down to the nitty and gritty. And I feel like we're at a time now where a lot of people don't feel comfortable expressing themselves. And I know me, like there are certain spaces where I go around, you know, whether it be school or work or maybe just out in public, you know, you always hear the conversations amongst certain people within their groups, but you never really have that moment to talk. And there are, I know, you know, certain individuals where like you don't have those friends to talk to about those things. You know, you don't have those loved ones where you feel comfortable reaching out and asking the questions and seeking the guidance, seeking the advice, or just maybe just voicing your displeasure or your opinions on things, and to be able to open that up to not only each other but to others in a safe and loving environment. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also got to think about it this way. Having a space to be able to not only vent, but also to just kind of dig in deep and be vulnerable in whatever thought process that may happen. I think sometimes we get so
heavy on that vulnerable.
Yeah. We get so scared to truly open our hearts and open our mind because we're afraid of disagreement. We're afraid of not seeing things the same way. And I mean, Cole, you and I, we grew up differently.
Yep.
You're white, I'm black. There's ways that we see things completely differently, and we invite that difference because ultimately me being able to see things through your eyes and you being able to see things through my eyes will help us grow. In the sense of like if something were to happen, and these are topics that we'll hit on at week to week, every time we record or every time if there's a special time where we need to go live, we'll go live and we'll have these deep conversations because we want to be in tune of what's going on in the world, how it's impacting us, and how it may be impacting you, the listeners, the viewers. And know that your voice, you know, hopefully we can be a beacon. We can be two people who can be your voice in a space where we feel like we have to be silent. And we don't want to be that. We want this to be a space and a place where you can continue to grow. You can continue to be authentic. That's gonna be our word. That's gonna be, you know, ordinary misfits. What does that mean? It means being authentic. It means
authenticity.
Growing. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So with that, I kind of want to just kind of dig into what is going to be different this time around, right? A lot of our first season was kind of geared. I mean, we had times when we talked sports or times when we talked, you know, about mental health. There are times where we watch videos. We want
like the crossover video, dog.
Hey, so we gotta do what we had to do at times, right? And sometimes it just came down to we didn't plan ahead, and we just kind of like, hey, what are we doing? I don't know.
Yeah.
And so this time we're going to be a lot more organized. Why? Because we want to go deeper. Pause. Um, we want real, raw conversations. You know, we're talking about tough stuff right here, right? Mental health, relationships, faith, identity, all the things that make us human. All right. We also want to bring in guests who are living out their own stories of resilience and healing. We want to be a place um, um, where we can invite others who and open up this platform for their story to be heard.
Yes.
Why? Because people who knows what it's like to be a misfit, right? We have the name of ordinary misfit, and it kind of like bumps, uh, like both words kind of bump with one another. Because ordinary means, you know, part of everything, but a misfit is someone who sticks out away from that. So like we are all ordinary, we are all unique in one way, but yet we're also misfits because there's times where we feel out of place. There's seasons and there's seasons of life where we just feel isolated and alone, and we want this to be a space where we can gather our stories, we can gather all of our experiences and share that with one another, just because there's something that I may be dealing with that I feel like I'm alone, and Cole can easily say, bro, I've been through that. And just like that, I got a brother who can walk alongside me and help guide me, right? And not to say that we know all or that we are the most educated people in the world, but I know the importance of being able to acknowledge and validate people's stories and the things that they've gone through. What are your thoughts, Cole?
Wait, you mean I'm not the most educated person in the world, bro? I'm stuck on that. You don't think I'm educated, dog?
You
I'm out here.
you know
I'm
all
out
you know
here.
all things. You know
Hey,
all things.
I'm Google, dog. I'm Google. I'm Google. What do you mean, bro? I'm
You're
Google.
right. My bad. Okay, Google.
Um,
That's a
no.
throwback
I
right
think
there.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
that's episodes, bro. I'm throwing that. I'm dropping dimes for y'all. The people that
Come on,
watch,
man.
they know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Um, John, you made me dang. You made me joke. Now I'm over here losing my thought. I think re-ask your question. What do I think in
This
regards to what?
in regards of how we're going to be different in, you know, the episodes that we drop you and I build this continue to build this platform to be a space where we can talk about mental health, talk about relationships, faith, identity, talk about the things that make us human.
In regards to us or just in the guest speakers? I know you talked about the guest speakers.
Guest speakers, you yourself,
So
in whichever way you want to go.
I think what the big thing is that me and you both are okay with being vulnerable. We're okay with opening up, and having those conversations about faith, relationships, self value, or like self worth, getting into that and really opening up and sharing. Because the one thing that we can all do is open ourselves up to others. Be 100%. And it's a little nerve wracking, especially nowadays. Social anxiety is at an all time high. I feel like a lot of people very nervous to get out and put themselves out there for obvious and well validated reasons. But to get out there, to really put yourself out there and really just learn and express, right? Especially when you talk about having someone to walk with you, right? Because when you talk about these things, a lot of these things for us, like if something was going on with me, for me, can feel like the size of a cruise ship hanging on my shoulders, right? And or like a viewer, it might not seem like a lot, but to know, like, if I bring something up to you, and even if you haven't gone through it or you have gone through it, but you're having someone there, having someone to like walk with you through battles, to see the worth in you and like help you grow, not only as that individual, but within like that fight. And not only that, but as you do it, you start to learn more about that person and what makes them them, what made them, like what got them to this point, what fuels them, and what really builds them up, or like gives them a sense of like hope or like happiness. I think getting into those conversations, having that, and not only like, you know, one thing I think is that when you get out there and you do something that isn't comfortable for most people, when you really like do something that most people aren't used to, in a way you can inspire others to also do that. You can inspire people to take that step, to make that move, to make that jump. And I think that is one thing that, like, in me, I know with like when it comes to us having guest speakers, right? Like obviously I want to inspire others to also open up when they come on and to speak their story, to speak their truth, and to talk about what they've been through and the effects it had on them and how they handled it, and what they probably like, what they debated, what they thought about their headspace and the time, and how they feel like they've, you know, once they have conquered, or if they're, you know, in the battle, how they feel about it. You have that, right? But I think the biggest thing is for the viewers, right? With the people that we don't directly see face to face, right? Those that like we don't get to necessarily like have on and talk to and really get in the nitty gritty, but to really inspire them to reach out and kind of find these safe spaces to build these safe spaces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because one thing that I think you touched on a little bit earlier that I wanted to speak, I actually opened my book and was writing down, but I didn't want to be rude. Damn. So when you were talking earlier, you had said about one growing their damn. You had talked about one growing their like their growth in their mental health and their feelings of faith and their feelings within their emotions within their relationship. And hold on one second. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
While we wait on Cole, kind of want to also kind of talk to you guys about certain things that we want to get into. I think it's important for us to acknowledge that healing isn't linear. And so in this time, as we talk through these conversations, we want you guys to know that we know this. We want this to be a space of healing. And we know that healing isn't linear. Some days it's a step forward. Other days it's 2 steps back. And that's okay. Here on Ordinary Misfits, we don't believe in toxic positivity. We believe in sitting in the hard stuff and just kind of figuring our way out, feeling it, naming it, but also believing and finding hope, even in the smallest of moments. And so one of the things and one of the dreams that we have is to continue to be a place and space where people can heal. And now, like I said earlier, I don't think and I don't believe that I am the smartest or I have all the wisdom. But I do and I will love to share my honest thoughts. And I am a believer in Jesus Christ. So a lot of my advice will be rooted in scripture. And I'm not going to be afraid to share that with people. But also know that a lot of the times when as we look to heal, as we look to grow, as we continue to figure out where we stand in this space, um, where we stand as individuals or as a family and this and that, we want people to understand that, you know, as we heal, it's going to look different for each and every one of us. And so, Cole, what I was telling people, is another thing, another place, or another bullet point of like we wanting this platform to be a space for healing, and that we understand that healing isn't linear. That means some days we take a step forward, some days we take 2 steps back. And so
everyone heals at their own pace.
exactly. And so like also that we don't believe in toxic positivity, meaning
Mhm.
that we believe in just, naming it or dealing with the hardship, naming it, but also believing and finding hope in that space as well. But I'll let you continue what you were saying before you had to leave there.
So we were talking about the mental health aspect of it.
Mhm.
And you had said something along the lines earlier about the healing, or the just the facing of it. I really just I want to add value into the fact that everything happens, right? And well, not everything happens. Some things happen, right? And we don't like. I remember me, like a couple of years ago, the way that I handled things now. I look back at those, and there are certain people that I can put forth as kind of like
Mhm.
helpers, right? Or like pioneers in like helping me better myself and the way that I handle things and the way that I go about looking at things.
Right.
And I want to kind of, as a way of like giving homage back to those people, I felt like the best thing that I could do was try to help the next person, pass it on to the next person.
Mhm.
And where I can't touch millions of people, like we can't touch millions of people physically, like going out right now and just having a conversation with people, you can't touch many people. But my hope is that we can use this to build into that, where
Yeah.
we do have the ability to touch people. We do have the ability to get our message out and to open up a space. I apologize about Teddy right here.
You're good. You're good.
Give people the space to talk and give people the space to be vulnerable and open and to and when you bring it up, to heal, when regardless of what pace that means, regardless of what that entails, because everyone's journey is different, everyone's fights are different.
Right.
But kind of giving that space, having that open availability to talk about those things, having that ability to touch the people. Not okay, pause, that sounds weird, but like having the ability to reach people and
Yeah.
give people an outlet, give people a sense of hope and a sense of that they're not alone in these fights and they're not having to fight these alone, while also like, getting to know that you're heard and to know that you're appreciated and you are loved is something invaluable, or you can't put a price tag on it. It is of, well, is it invaluable? Invaluable? I swear that's the right word.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, English was not my strong suit, right?
I get you. I get you.
Words,
But like
bro.
for me, kind of going along those lines, and I had mentioned this as you stepped away, like, as a believer in Jesus, my primary goal is this: love God and love my neighbors. And
Yeah.
what does that mean? That means reflecting that love that God has for me to those around me. And so like being able to use this podcast, to be able to use this platform, and I don't want to even just call it a podcast, to use this platform to share the hope that I see in my life, right? To share the
Mm-hmm.
hope that I have, that the Lord has been able to just kind of open my eyes and see. Like, I don't care if this platform reaches one person, if it reaches 200 or 2 million. Like my
Bro,
goal,
if it reaches one person who went through a similar time that I went to, and it
yeah,
offers any solace or
then
solace
I've
or
done my
any like
job.
or any peace or anything, if they can grab something and use it to better themselves or help them,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I wanted out of this was achieved. What I needed out of this was achieved.
Yeah.
And hopefully, and all I ask, you pass it to the next person. Pass
Yeah.
it to the next
Yeah.
person. Care for the next person. We all are going through something. Everyone's fighting a battle. You never know what somebody's going through. Pass it to
Yeah.
the next person.
Treat people, treat everyone with kindness, compassion, and respect, and actively seek those who need help. That's just that's a motto. That's not even a model. That's a lifestyle that I've chosen. That's a lifestyle that my wife and I are going to teach my boys, like to treat everyone with kindness, even when we disagree with one another, even when we don't see eye to eye, right? To have compassion for one another, to show that you
Especially
care.
in those moments. Especially
Yes,
in those moments.
yes. And there are going to be times, and there's going to be conversations and stories of times we didn't see eye to eye with people, and like, man, like there's so many people in my life that I wish I can go back and change how I acted towards
Mm-hmm.
them.
Oh, absolutely.
Just looking back at it, I'm just like, I was in the wrong. I was not a good person in how I handled that situation. And so we will look at those situations in life. We will look at those um those opportunities to grow from those opportunities, right? And so that we don't, repeat ourselves in that. And so, yeah, I really love what you said there, and I 100% agree with you
I
of just helping people, not even just helping people. If this is just a place in the space where we get to grow and we're able to grow for one another, like that's good enough for me because I'm able to spend time my brother here and just talk life.
Likewise. Likewise. One thing I wanted to say is you talked about the good Lord, I keep trying to quote what you're saying and then I can't quote exactly how you quoted. You just spoke on if you could go back and do over how you acted towards certain people in the past and how you handled certain situations, right? And like I remember that dude, I still have things. I have so many stories that I could look back and I was like, I was out of place for that. I was in the wrong. I am in like I should not have spoke that way. I should not have acted that way or reacted that way. But I'm gonna be honest with you though, and I want your opinion on this real quick, right? Because I used to really beat myself over that, like beat myself up mentally, like, dang, bro, how, like, because I remember one time I got mad at my mom, and I'm like, how could you do that woman wrong? You know what I mean? Like, how could you talk to that woman that way? That woman shows up for you no matter what, even when you're in the wrong, and even when you've done her wrong, she shows up for you.
Yeah.
And I used to beat myself up, and then I realized, right, like those happened. Right. Like the times that you've done wrong, the times that you didn't handle situations right, the times that you let your emotions get the best of you. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are gone. You did those, right? And even though we wish we could go back and fix it, you can't. So what's the only thing else you can do from that is to learn from that, right?
Right.
And you when I really started thinking about those times, like you start to see the pattern, right? Like you'll see once you like, for instance, right? After I had that moment with my mom and I came to the realization that I was in the wrong and that I acted horribly towards my mom, right? Like, bless you. Or was that a cough?
It was a mix of a cough and a sneeze.
Yeah, I thought so.
Those are the worst.
Okay, wait. Did the sneeze activate the cough, or did the cough activate the sneeze? Because the cough activates the sneeze for me.
It was the sneeze activated cough.
Dang.
Yeah,
crazy.
The esophagus had. It was terrible because you're like already like preparing for the sneeze, and then the cough comes out. Oh my Lord.
Those times that I was mean to my mom, or I was less than kind to my mom. Those, and that feeling of like regret, that feeling of deep down, like, dang, that was horrible of me. That kind of shelled me and like molded me to notice them later on. So in times where like I would have lashed out, I would have said something, I would have acted or not acted accordingly, acted a certain type of way. Like I noticed that I'm in a similar situation to the time that I felt bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it allows me to take a step back and like assess the situation a little bit deeper than what I currently used to, Yeah. And like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that that's like, I'm not saying that this is like the best way to do it. I'm not saying that this is like anyone should just be like me. I'm not saying I'm almighty. I know all the healthy procedures, but like remembering that feeling, not like soaking on it and not like moping about it, but remembering that feeling, like remember that, oh damn, I wish I could take that back. I wish I could do like that wanting to take it back. Just that feeling of like regret. I like remember it. Not I sit on it, but I remember it. There's a fine difference. I don't know if I can explain that quite well right now, but you don't hang on it and let it beat you down anymore, but you remember where you were and you remember that feeling. And I've used that. So for me, right, that worked for me. That's how I remembered the feeling of regret. But for you, right, how did you get through that? What was your process when you started realizing, like, hey, there are times I wish I could go back and I wish I could do this. I wish I could handle that situation better. How did you, like, with that feeling of regret, how did you handle that? How did you go about making sure that didn't happen again? That you didn't find yourself in that same set of shoes?
It was. You're gonna think like I already have this prepared, but it's like it's a 7-step process.
Okay, hit me with it, dog.
First, you got to reflect honestly, right? You take time to think about what happened, both the good and the bad, right? And then you ask yourself, well, what went well? What didn't? What emotions did I experience? How did I what was my initial thought in why was I feeling the way that I feel, right? And then so that's the first step is, reflecting honestly through that situation. And then second, you identify key takeaways, right? So what does that mean? You determine what you've learned from that situation. You think about the choices that you made. You think about how they contributed to the outcome of that situation. You brought up, being ugly towards your mom, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, what is the key takeaway? All right, man, I was being ugly, even though in that moment I felt justified. I felt every right to be upset, but okay, this was not okay, right? Then the third thing, which is usually the hardest thing, accept responsibility. Own your actions without harsh criticism, right? Accountability fosters growth. So when you're able to take accountability for your own, or when you're able to take responsibility for your own things that you've done, right? It shows growth. It shows that you're able to recognize the external factors, but focus on what you had control over, right?
Yes.
And so you got to be able to accept responsibility for the mess that you have created or the problem that you've created in that situation.
Okay.
And then you seek feedback. This is number 4, seek feedback, right? You gain perspective from others who were involved or have experience in that same situation, right? Everyone has had issues before of being ugly towards a parent or a guardian, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's many times where I got in arguments with my parents or was ugly towards my parents, and the first person that I would talk to are my sisters, where it's like, hey, like, did you get where I was coming from? Or there are times where before I can even ask, hey, did you get where I was coming from? They'd be like, nah, you was wrong for that. Like, you shouldn't have said that. You shouldn't have done this. Why? Well, because this is why when you went here, that's what escalated. That was the catalyst for the situation to go even worse. When you easily could have done this and taken the time, take a couple deep breaths and actually hear and listen. Because constructive feedback can provide valuable insight to things that you've missed, right?
Absolutely.
And then the fifth thing, apply the lesson. So you take what you've learned and you apply it. You adjust your approach when facing similar challenges in the future. There are going to be times where you're not going to see eye to eye with your mom again. So what are you going to do in those situations, right? Are you going to just hear her disagreeing and be mad at that? Or are you actually going to, oh, she disagrees with me. I wonder why. Let me ask questions. Okay.
Yeah.
When you say you don't agree with me, one, did you completely understand what I was talking about? Did you hear what I was, not to say that like they're not listening, but a lot of time disagreements comes because there was an assumption made, and a wrong assumption can cause disagreements. Right?
Human error is very prominent within arguments.
Right. Agreed. So you apply the lessons, and then you stay resilient, accept setbacks as a part of the learning process. Develop a growth mindset. Believe that you can improve through any situation in life. And then the seventh thing.
Do you know the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset?
Do I know the difference?
Yes.
Is this like a particular saying that like needs to? Is this like a particular quote, or is it
No, it's like
based off
no.
of me?
They both have actual definition. Like they both have an actual definition,
Yeah.
but I'm not asking for an actual quote. Like I'm not looking for you to. I'm
Yeah,
not looking for you to quote exactly what.
Okay. I thought you were like there was like this was like referencing something, and I was
no.
I don't know.
I had to learn. I had to like do this for one of my classes, so I had to go into the difference between growth and fixed mindset. So I wanted to know if you knew.
I mean, a growth mindset, you are,
and for the viewers,
you have the ability to learn and to, I can't say grow in defining the word, but the ability to
remain resilient and find a way.
Yeah, while a fixed mindset is just you found your target and you're just staying there, and it's just like nothing's going to deter me from this. I'm in the right, yada yada yada, right? So yeah. And so the last thing, practice self-compassion. Don't dwell on your mistakes. Instead, treat yourself with kindness and patience. Understand that you are human. You're going to mess up, and that's okay. And learning that. A lot of time we are so hard on ourselves. Like we continue to beat ourselves up anytime we do something that we feel like we shouldn't have done. Our first thing is, I know for me, I call myself stupid. Oh, I'm so embarrassing. Like this, and this, that I continue to beat myself up.
Yep.
If I'm going to beat myself up and be rude and disgusting to myself, how am I going to treat others? I'm going to treat others how I treat myself, right? That's why scripture says, love your neighbors as yourself, right? If you don't know how to love yourself, how are you going to love those around you? And so just practice that self-compassion, be nice to yourself, treat yourself with that same kindness you should be treating others. So, yeah.
So if I have this right?
Mm-hmm.
I got 7 steps, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The first step is you're going to process and reflect honestly.
Yes, sir.
Then you're gonna assess the key takeaways of what happened, right? The hardest step, step 3, you're going to accept responsibility for your actions or accountability. Step 4, you're going to seek the feedback. Constructive feedback. You need that constructive feedback. Step 5, you've learned a lesson. Now you need to apply the lesson moving forward. How are you going to apply the lesson? What are you going to take away and apply for moving forward? Step 6, you're going to accept setbacks with a growth mindset.
Yes, sir. So staying resilient. Yep.
And then finally, I wouldn't say most importantly, because they're all very important, but very big step is to practice self-compassion.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it right. You got it down. See,
that's your 7 steps right there.
There you
go.
I
like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But no, those are things like even outside of like dealing in situation. These are things that are practical to life in general. It's so easy. It's so easy to take notes on something and then just leave them as notes. If you're not going to apply them to your life, if you're not going to learn from them and then like not only learn but change, like you're going to stay in that same cycle over and over, and then you're going to wonder why you keep making the same mistakes. You're going to, and that's not okay. Now there are certain situations where like you need somebody else to be there to help. Hey, you're stuck in that cycle. Like let's change that mindset. What do you need? Right. And that's why you have certain people in your lives who are there not only to not to challenge you, but like to challenge you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying like with everything that you do, They need to be like, "Oh, are you sure about that?" Like, no.
Everyone needs a good like pick me up or like a challenge, just to keep everything in line. You know what I mean?
Someone to keep you accountable
Balance.
and growing in the right way.
Yeah. Challenge you, but not challenge you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I gotta ask, what is the hoodie?
Oh, that's it was North Crowley's playoff hoodie. So 817 is our area code, and it says versus everybody. So yeah, that's just their thing.
State champs, right?
Yes, sir.
Said put some respect.
Hey, their number one receiver is actually gonna go play for Dion up in Colorado.
Really?
Yeah. He's looking pretty good. I saw some clips of him already. He was looking good. So yeah, with that, one thing that we want to do, and something that's new, and I've kind of already mentioned it a little bit, is we want to hear about you, the listener. In spirit of connection, we want to hear from you. Like, what's something you've been navigating through lately? What's bringing you joy, even in the middle of life, right? So we would love to hear your thoughts, your stories, or your questions. We would love to be able to answer questions of how to navigate through this, or
give feedback.
Give feedback on or give us topics to talk about. We would love to hear that. We would love to hear your thoughts. Whatever it is, we are all ears. And who knows, your words, your thoughts, your realization might be exactly what somebody else needed to hear in that moment in time. It could be something that I needed to hear. It could be something Cole needed to hear. It could be something D2 needed to hear. We want to know and hear your thoughts. And so how can you do that? Well, you can send us a message on Facebook. Ordinary Misfit Podcast is our page there. You can send us a message. We'll probably end up putting stuff on our story on Instagram of what's the thing is answer a question or ask a question.
So like the anonymous poll. It's like the poll.
No,
it's like it drops like the link and you can just kind of drop your thing.
Yeah, so it's just like ask a question. You can put whatever question that you would like, and do that on our Instagram page, which is at Ordinary Misfits Pod. Look out for us on TikTok at ordinary.misfits. Those are places where you are able to submit those questions, those thoughts. We would love to hear your thoughts. We would love to hear your questions. And we'll be honest about them. Now if you go be crazy, we may not pick those, depending on how funny they are. But
I'll pick those.
we'll have a oh my gosh, a segment where it's called J. Cole Questions Only.
Wait.
And that's where those questions will be answered. Okay. But yeah, we would love to hear your thoughts. We would love to hear just
topics.
Yeah, topics that you may have, ideas that you would want us to tackle. Like I said, this is going to be a space and place not only just for Cole and I, but for you, the listeners, the viewers, to feel heard, to feel loved, to feel appreciated. And not many podcasts do that. And so we want to be different in that way. We want to have you guys feel included in the things that we talk about.
You're trying to touch the audience.
That's what Cole's trying to do.
No, hell no, pause.
I'm trying to reach the audience. Cole's trying to touch them. That's your word, sir. Your words.
How am I throw you the oom and you gonna swat it? That's crazy. I threw you a D Wade to LeBron when they was on the Heat, and you over here like Serge Ibaka sending that thing to the fourth row.
I think you forgot that was a bounce pass, not a oop. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
But yeah, man. Cole, you got any closing thoughts, final words for our viewers?
Old trusty, it's better to be loved, or it's better to be disliked for who you are than to be loved for who you're not. Also, take your vitamins. Take your vitamins. y'all is nasty. Some of y'all don't wash your hands. I don't know how I get sick every year. I get sick around this time, bro. I don't know what it is, but some of y'all need to wash your hands more. Use some. Take your vitamins. Everyone, take your vitamins. Okay. If you're not taking vitamins, go get you some vitamins. Okay. I don't care how old you is. Go get you some vitamins. Men's daily, women's daily, children's daily. You need your vitamins. Okay. And also, wash your hands. Sanitizer.
Wash it.
Also, love yourself. When you wake up in the morning, love yourself and know your worth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But wash your hands.
Heavy
on that, dog.
Heavy on washing your hands. Okay. Oh man. My final thought, just kind of going into what we talked about, the 7 steps, is remember every experience, whether it brought joy or hardships, carries a lesson that can shape you into a wiser, stronger version of yourself. Growth isn't about avoiding mistakes. It's about facing them with courage, reflecting with honesty, and choosing to move forward with purpose. Be patient with yourself as you learn. Progress takes time. It takes time, my friends. But even the smallest steps leads to transformation. Trust that your past doesn't define you, but how you respond to it does. Every setback is set up for a comeback, and every lesson learned is a tool for your future success. That's just something based off of what we talked about a little bit earlier. Keep going. You're capable, you're resilient, and growing in ways that you might not even see yet. Believe in your ability to turn experiences into wisdom and challenges into opportunities. All right.
There is no way you expect anyone to believe that wasn't scripted from earlier, bro. You said earlier, I didn't plan this. You're going to think I planned this and had this scheduled out. And then you're going to drop that at the end. Everybody going to think it's scripted now.
It wasn't scripted from earlier. So this is like notes that I've taken from myself based on that situation that you asked about. So like, I wasn't planning on us talking about that, but you asked that question. So like, this is something like that I wrote down on my notes for me to like look back and remember that. And this was something that was said to me that I'm sharing to other people. Come on.
Ooh, go ahead. Come on now.
Come on now. I got people in my life speaking truth. Amen. Hallelujah.
Go ahead. You better do that thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Yeah. Episode 1 is coming to a close. There's just one thing that we want to ask for you guys to do. If you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode. Yeah, drop a follow.
Leave a like.
Be sure to share this episode with someone who might need it. And don't forget to follow us on social media. That is on Facebook, Ordinary Misfit Podcast, Instagram at Ordinary Misfits Pod, TikTok, ordinary.misfits. You can also find us on YouTube, Ordinary Misfits Pod. Yeah, be sure to give us a follow just to stay in track. Stay in track? That makes no sense. To stay what's the word I'm looking for? On top of what we're doing. We're looking to drop more episodes very soon. We are not taking another year hiatus. We are here. We are here.
We locked in, Stink.
Yes, sir. We locked in. I'm done with you. We locked in, and we are excited for what the future is going to bring. With that being said, peace and love, and y'all have a great day, afternoon, evening, whatever time you watch
Morning.
this, morning, whatever you watching this. We love you. We appreciate you. Take it easy and be breezy.
Peace.
Not playing. Ah. Ah. Now we figuring this stuff out. Peace and love, y'all.
Why'd you make that noise?
Peace and love.